And welcome into the schools program today. Today we are joined by a couple of our friends from Northwest State Community College. I have Jim Drews on the Zoom conference with me today. He is the Director of Workforce Development at Northwest State Community College. And Tori Atkinson, who is the Workforce and Apprentice Program Manager. Welcome in, both of you.
Well, thank you, Jim. It's great to be here.
Thank you very much.
Guys, this has been the craziest 2 or 3 months. And Jim, let's start with you. I think that I could ever remember. Have you ever been through a distraction like we've had with this virus?
No, and it's such uncharted territory for all of us at the time. It came on all of a sudden, and it was really interesting for us because at Northwest State we have open enrollment classes and contract training, and suddenly the customers did not want me to go visit them to talk about training and training programs, nor did they want to send their employees to get trained at Northwest State. So we were shut off pretty quick with everything. And as a state institution, we really had to watch the broadcast from Governor DeWine and the guidance that he had. And I've got just great respect because nobody knew the outcomes of this pandemic. And I want to say it was tough navigating when things would change by the week or by the day sometimes. And I think we did well in Ohio with everything considering, but that's kind of where we're at. So it was certainly uncharted for us, but it's kind of interesting because after Memorial Day, things started breaking open for us. People started calling us again, and we were starting to go through our phases of reopening. And the best announcement we had was we're going to return to face-to-face classes in the fall. And as you know, Jim, with skilled workforce, hands-on is what we're all about. That's what we do.
No doubt. Tori, how's the downtime affected your day-to-day operations?
I can agree with
Go ahead, Tori.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I can agree that it has definitely slowed down our process and our efforts in the workforce community for sure.
Jim, I know that with things closed down like that, obviously you're like any other business in Northwest Ohio. If you don't have people coming in, not only can't you train anybody, there's no revenue coming in. So that had to be an issue as well.
Yeah, it really impacted, I'm sure, the college students, but for us especially, contract training, or I'll say our group, we have a lot of billings in February, March, April, May. Right now, people are starting to think about vacations in June, and July and August is a time when we retool and plan for next year. So we lost our major billing time and classroom time with our clients. A lot of that will be canceled with no replacement. We've just lost the opportunity. Some classes will be rescheduled in the fall if we can get the customers and our instructors back together, but it's quite a loss. And I think Tori can talk to what we were doing during I'll call it the downtime. It really made us refocus and pivot some of our online learning. And Tori's been the key proponent of locating some companies, and I want to say guiding us for our future after this. This is a great change for us because it's going to allow us to pivot and I want to say improve our offerings through online classes.
Tori, tell us a little more about that. Expand on what Jim was telling us about.
Yeah, so the downtime has actually provided me the opportunity to do some investigating and some vetting of some virtual training programs. And we found several that have been around for a number of years. And, Jim and I would receive, temporary access to those programs, and we vetted them, and we've got some potential partners to go forward with. Our industrial technologies division had a little bit of a difficult spring as well because they are so focused on the hands-on activities that are in relation to their classes. So these will hopefully help us be a little bit more prepared in the future when it comes to being able to assess that hands-on activities.
Jim, I don't know how many times I've had somebody tell me, this was a difficult situation, but we've taken so many things out of the last couple months. We've restructured, we've changed the way we're going to do business. What maybe is the primary thing that you're going to take with you once we finally get back to business as normal?
I'd like to say, hopefully some virtual meetings are much more common. We're very typical of driving to places, and Columbus is a destination for community colleges. That's 5 hours on the road. And I would hope that the Zoom meetings and our virtual meetings are going to be more accepted now. They've been around. I would say our entire staff is so much more comfortable after 3 months of how to share documents and include people and bring people into these meetings. That's a big part how we're going to run ourselves internally, that we don't have to all be in the building to do our job sometimes. We can do a lot of it remote. But the other part of it would be our clients. Online classes is a lot more accepted now. You know, certainly they were big to begin with, but in skilled workforce, such as what Tori and I do, we can get a lot of the class content done online on the students' time when it's available for them, more convenient for them. And then they come in, once they completed certain classes, they can come in and do the hands-on assessments and demonstrate their hands-on knowledge after reading and understanding the materials. That's when we'll do the lab. So we see that as being the big change for us moving forward.
Tori, have you seen any drop-off from the skills that the students have been able to pick up being online rather than being in the classroom or at the job site?
No, we haven't noticed anything. So with the industrial technologies courses, they were able to, once we could open the building back up and have a few individuals here providing distancing, we were able to do those hands-on assessments and get their spring semester completed. The virtual training is, it's not just the words in the text. It's virtual equipment, so you can actually participate as if you're actually operating the equipment. So that's been able to provide, I think, everyone with a different ability than just going through and reading a PowerPoint or reading some paragraphs of text.
Wow, that's hard to imagine that you can get that type of simulation from sitting in your living room in a pair of running trunks and a t-shirt, Tori.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
It's a good thing because I like hanging around in a pair of running shorts and a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. But boy, that is amazing, Jim. You know, when you started doing this, could you have ever imagined that you could be this successful, but be this far apart?
You know, I'm a little bit older too, and I watch these kids just learn so much. And next generation is more accepting of new learning methods, but also Wi-Fi connections, computer graphics. The online classes themselves have become so, I want to say, using graphics more integral, more lifelike with animations. So I think it's just come almost right up to being not so much a virtual environment, but you're almost right there. And we have people doing virtual simulations, and they come right into the lab then and work on the same looking equipment, the same style. But I couldn't imagine this, 10 years ago, even 5. But I'll say the speed of this has been extraordinary, and it's been really good to see. So I think we're sitting in a really good position right now to serve our learners with, I'll call it more than hybrid. It's online. It's at their location, our location. We kind of bring the training to where the students are. So I think we're just geared up a lot better to deliver a better product for our students.
Tori, we've talked about the students right now. How about the businesses that you guys interface with? What have been some of the challenges for them in the last couple of months, and how have you seen that progress?
Their biggest concern the last couple of months is just keeping their employees safe and keeping their doors open. There's been so much different administrations releasing best practices and guidelines for keeping their employees safe as far as what kind of protective equipment they should be wearing, social distancing. And it's difficult for them to make the transition of allowing that 6 feet distance between workers. Some companies are set up that's easy, and some have employees working side by side. So their biggest concerns have really been right in that focus. We've held a couple of different webinars for them, identifying some local companies such as Worthington Industries out of Delta. Their environmental health and safety manager did a wonderful presentation for other manufacturers here in Northwest Ohio on exactly what they could do and what Worthington has done to provide a safe working environment. So it's just been, the focus has definitely shifted, but I will say in the last couple of weeks, these companies are trying to get back to business as usual. We're talking training again, we're talking apprenticeships, we're talking tech cred, reimbursement from the state for upskilling their workforce. So they did what they had to do to get through, and it seems like now we're just trying to get back to where we were.
Tori hit on kind of a hot topic right now. Mr. Bellamy sent me over those words tech cred and said, don't forget to ask Jim and Tori about tech cred. So she dropped the hint right now. Jim, you pick up the ball and tell everybody what tech cred is.
Well, I'm going to pass it right back because she is a tech cred person that's just worked with the state so much better. I'm on the outside with some of the technical classes, but Tori is a technical expert as far as cred, the requirements you need and how to do it. So Tori, it's right back to her.
Okay, no problem. I'm only the expert because I tend to bug the state a lot and I tend to ask a lot of questions. So over the last few months, we've been able to kind of become a resident expert here in Northwest Ohio on it. So Tech Cred is a program that is open to all companies within the state of Ohio. It is there to provide a reimbursement funding for a way for companies of all sizes to provide their employees with, not required, but with upskilling their workforce so that they can operate the emerging technologies and become credentialed in so many different areas focused around technology that sometimes these companies can't afford to pay for. You've got companies, 1 to 30 employees, they don't have the kind of funding as a company that has over 500 or 1,000 employees here in Northwest Ohio. So this is a really cool program that started October of 2019 was the first funding round. And they did October, they did January, March, and now the month of June is open for applications as well. And what it is that you can apply for this funding. It is a reimbursement program. You identify the individuals that need to be trained in a certain technology-focused credential, and you can apply for up to $2,000 per employee, up to a $30,000 max per round of funding. So since this is the 4th round of funding, this could be the 4th time someone's taken advantage of that $30,000 max. We've seen several companies around Northwest Ohio actually do just that. Locally here, they came real close to that $30,000 max. Souter Woodworking applied for some PLC training and some vibration analysis training, I know. And so when they can then send those employees to receive that training and they earn either a certificate or a certification, they can submit that back to the state of Ohio for reimbursement of those funds.
Wow, that is truly remarkable, especially for Northwest Ohio, where you do have a number of those companies that are not General Motors or Ford Motor Company.
We really do, and it was a slow go at getting the word out back in October, but lately, it's really been more in the eyes of the manufacturers and other companies in Ohio that can take advantage of this training. Their website, they have over, oh my gosh, I don't even know, probably 500-600 credentials that are already pre-approved. And if you need a credential that you don't see on that list, you can apply to have the state add it to the program so that you can still take advantage of it. The criteria is very simple. It just has to be technology focused. You have to be able to earn the credential in less than 12 months. If you're utilizing college credit classes, like here at Northwest State, the program has to be under 29 credit hours. We have so many different options through Northwest State, through Custom Training Solutions that can fit these different companies around Ohio that would they could take advantage of the program.
Give me some examples of the credentials that you can you would qualify for this, Tori.
Well, I don't have my list in front of me, so we'll see what I can remember.
Oh, you've got a great memory, I can tell. It's me that has the memory. I have to keep looking down on the screen to remember both Jim's and your name. So I'm sure your memory is just fine.
I wish that was true. I really do. So they're in some different disciplines. So there's advanced manufacturing, there's medical, there's construction, Internet of Things and Industry 4.0, there's robotics. So specifically, we work with a lot of advanced manufacturing. So anything that has to fall under that umbrella, whether it's industrial maintenance, electrical engineering, a maintenance technician, PLC programming, FANUC robots, all of those different credentials and certifications are there. AC circuits, drives, motors, it's all under there. And it's all training that Northwest State and CTS can provide for the companies in our area.
Wow, that's wonderful. Jim, this just seems like it's another one of those weapons that you have in your arsenal when you go around and help people.
Yeah, it's been very good for us. And, you know, you talk about these certifications, and we don't want the state to tell us what we can take. We want our business clients and our manufacturing companies to do it. So they're the ones that identify all these classes. But when you're taking a series of apprentice classes, Tori's been very successful at taking a cluster of Northwest State classes and putting them together for a certificate. And so these companies can continue on the apprentice path, get their employees trained in their own apprentice program, and get reimbursed for that.
Wow. You know, it does look like the economy is about to turn back on. It was soaring, Jim, before we got into this, and things were going extremely well. And I know your partnerships were going very well, too.
Yeah, there's just so much talk about how long the recovery will be to get back to normal. And I think everybody's just raring to go. We will see how the consumers push everything, but we just see a very strong economy coming back relatively quick. We'll see how many people do not have a job when they come back. Maybe some of the service industries like restaurants and places will not reopen based on this, or small businesses, but that's where our training might kick in, and hopefully there's going to be other job opportunities for displaced workers, and then we can train them up to take on another job or new career.
Well, you know, I think people lose track of that at times, but you guys are so critical now, especially for a displaced worker or a displaced workforce that we might have.
Yeah. I'm going to say there's money, and there's a variety of grants for truck driving and entry-level manufacturing type of classes, and welding, and just a gamut of the skilled trades. And, you know, in Northwest Ohio, you take one of those topics, you're going to have a variety of job opportunities. There's multiple jobs in all those disciplines in the area. So we're hopeful that everybody can wind up with a well-paying job after this, if they did get displaced.
Yeah, well, we can only hope, because we have been so fortunate to have the manufacturers and the businesses that we have had in Northwest Ohio for all these years. So hopefully we don't lose too many. Well, the good news is this fall, I know registration is going to happen, and that's going to be a whole different program, but it's coming up. And as you said, Jim, it's going to be face-to-face, which has been the question for the last several weeks. Are we going to open things up, or are we not going to open things up when it comes to education in the fall? And that was great news with that announcement.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we're cautiously optimistic, and you know, as long as we progress, we're going to plan to have face-to-face classes, and that's just so important for our nursing program and skilled trades. Anytime you have working close with a student to show them the skills they need to attain a job.
No doubt. Tori, I'm sure if somebody is listening today and they would like to get in touch with you guys, they can just call the college, or is there a better way to catch either you or Jim?
Probably through email or calling our cell phones, or our lines. My line here at the college is always forwarded to my cell phone, so you could reach me through that, which is 419-267-1219. And I know I talked a lot about our manufacturing clients with Tech Cred, but any Ohio business can apply for that funding. And if anyone listening does need assistance with that, I'm happy to help them understand, help them apply, and maybe request those credentials that they're not seeing on the pre-approved list. And just one other thing to touch upon that Jim Dravis was mentioning, I would encourage any displaced worker at this time to visit their local Jobs and Family Services office. They do have a lot of wonderful programs. They have funding to help train you in a new career. And, you know, if you are unfortunately in that situation, please know that there are organizations out there like your JFS offices that can help you.
Yeah. Really no business too big or too small when it comes to picking up the telephone and calling you guys?
Absolutely.
All right. Wonderful. Well, Jim Dravis, Tori Atkinson, thank you for being our guest today here on the schools program, all the wonderful things you guys do over there. Hopefully the next time we have this conversation, we're sitting here in the studio again. How's that?
Yeah, that's much preferred. Great.
No doubt. Tori, you think it's tough on the Zoom, man. Jim will tell you, I'm a much more difficult interviewer when you're face to face. It's more like 60 minutes here in the studio, isn't it, Jim?
It's intense. That's right.
I can't see that. No way.
Hey, I appreciate your time today. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you soon. Jim Dravis and Tori Atkinson from Northwest State Community College here today. That'll do it for our schools program. Back into Classic Hits here on the Q 96.5 FM.